What is up, y'all? My name is CJ Finley. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time, we give you all the tips and tricks to live healthier and happier and ultimately thrive on life. So if you're about that, please hit that subscribe button. Today's topic is going to be one that is near and dear to my heart, and I believe it's something that you should be going into every day focusing on, and that is consistency. Consistency can help you achieve anything and everything that you set your mind to in this world, and it's something that will improve your career, your relationships, and ultimately how you feel about yourself each and every day when you wake up. The first thing that I'm going to go over is what tends to hinder consistency in the first place, because when we think about consistency in all areas of our life, especially in today's world where there's so much coming at us all at one time and so many distractions that are pulling at us in any given moment, it's easy to not be consistent. If you just take away a lot of the distractions, you will be consistent. So that's why I want to focus the first part of this discussion on what can we take away and what is hindering us from truly being consistent in the way that we want to show up in this world. So the first thing that I think is a hindrance to almost everyone, I feel like everyone has experienced this at some point in their life, is where you try to run before you can even crawl. And society will pressure you into believing that you should be chasing certain goals and achievements. And because we want to get there faster, we tend to cut corners. And if we do that and we fail, our egos can be hurt, and that'll cause us to stop doing that thing or to completely jump to something new just because we don't want to be seen as a failure. The second thing that tends to be a hindrance is a lack of clarity. A lot of people haven't thought through where do they want to be in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, and they haven't reverse engineered down how they plan to get there. With clarity, you're able to be more consistent because every single morning when you wake up, you know the goal or the step that you're trying to take because you have this clearly defined path that you want to go on. Now, even if you define your path, obviously life is going to throw curveballs at you each and every day. The goal is to consistently wake up every day and know why you're here and what your purpose is and move in the direction of that path that you have defined for yourself. If you haven't defined that path, that's where you're going to want to start, because if you're clear on where you want to be going, it's a lot easier to hire coaches, to surround yourself in communities, to be around an environment that is conducive to helping you achieve that path in the long run. The third thing that tends to hinder people is shiny object syndrome. And this happens, again, because of lack of clarity. If we're not clear on what we want to be doing, then we're going to say yes to a lot of things that we shouldn't be doing in the first place. Now, it's okay to go out into the world and try a bunch of different things to figure out what it is that you like or you don't like. But if you're taking on things just because other people say you should be taking them on, because the media says you should be taking them on, because Instagram shows you a highlight reel of how you should be living your life rather than what is best for you, you're going to fall into the trap of spending a lot of your time and energy on things that aren't conducive, again, to hitting your goal. And when you do pick up those shiny objects, it's hard to be consistent because when you pick it up, you start realizing it wasn't for you in the first place. You fell victim and you start to realize that you actually are after something else. And again, at that point, you're back to square one and consistency kind of goes out the door at that point. So those are the common themes that I've seen hinder people from being consistent. I'm a big believer in if you're able to take those distractions away, you're going to be more consistent in your everyday life. So if you wake up every single morning and you're able to clearly define what does crawling look like to you, so what does it look like to just take one little step in the direction that you're trying to go, now that is predicated on being clear on what that direction is and saying no to all the shiny objects that are around you. So again, if you're struggling to be consistent, start with creating that long-term vision that you want for your life, and then start taking little steps towards that path and saying no to everything else that doesn't align with that vision. Right now, though, I want to get into what can help you be more consistent. So if you're the type of person that has set that vision and you're starting to say no to the distractions around you, there are some tips that can help you kind of level up in the world of being consistent and achieving your goals. And the first thing that I want to talk about is think long term. So it aligns directly with the clarity aspect. If you're not thinking long term and taking your actions based on your long term vision for your life, you're not going to have the motivation to show up each and every day with the same passion and the same fuel, because it is a grind. At the end of the day, if you are an aspirational person and you do want to achieve goals every single day, every single week, every single year, it's going to take a lot of energy from you. That's where the purpose and the clarity of the purpose come in. And if you're able to think in a longer term aspect, you realize that like if you have a bad day, it does suck, but it's not the end of the world. So you're able to show up in a consistent manner, even if it's not the perfect day that you'd set out to have. In the same line of thinking long term, I want you to think about how can you focus on base hits rather than home runs. And what I mean by this is instead of coming into every day and putting the pressure on yourself to change your life in 24 hours, realize that a great life is really just a culmination of great days. And to have a great day, what are the things that you have defined for yourself that you can check off each and every day, regardless of what the world throws at you? So for instance, no matter what is happening in my world, every single day I can wake up and making sure I'm eating the right foods, making sure I get my exercise in, making sure I'm staying hydrated, get some time to myself where I meditate. There's gonna be a lot flying at me every single day and a lot flying at you every single day. Society's gonna pull you in so many different directions, but there are some staple things that you can do each and every day, no matter what is happening. And even in those days that you feel like you can't make those things happen, that's just a sign that you didn't set yourself up for success for when that stress does happen. So if you are in a scenario where you feel you can't be consistent, you need to reflect back to days prior and think about how you could have set yourself up for success so that you could have been more prepared in that current moment. The next thing is implementing accountability practices. To reach a level of consistency that the highest achievers in this world have, you need to surround yourself with people like that. So your accountability practice in terms of building a system or process of accountability needs to be extremely strong to help you be consistent each and every day. So no matter what it is that you're trying to achieve, there's probably someone out there that is also either A, trying to achieve the same thing, or B, has already achieved something similar. You need to surround yourself with people like that. They're gonna help you be consistent on a daily basis. You can ask them questions, you can provide value to them, they can provide value to you. And when you're in an environment like that, you're gonna be motivated and inspired each and every day to continue to show up and improve whatever it is that you're working towards. I would say this is probably one of the number one things that can change anyone's life. It has 100% changed mine. If you're in an environment right now that isn't conducive to you being consistent at whatever your goal is, you need to switch that environment. You need to switch your fish tank. And if you're struggling to do that, please reach out to me because I've lived in 5 different cities. I've been in multiple startups. I had multiple full-time jobs prior to being in the entrepreneurial world. I've met and hung around and interacted with tons of different environments, and I'd love to help you kind of enter a new one that can help you be more consistent. The last thing that I'm gonna say about consistency is something that I forget what podcast that I heard it on recently, but they said amateurs train, professionals recover. And I know for me personally that I lack consistency if I feel burnt out. If I'm burnt out, I'm gonna look for an escape, and I feel like a lot of people in the world right now are burnt out and they don't even know it, and that's causing them to not be consistent towards the things that they know deep down in their heart that they should be working towards. So you need to reflect, whether it's in a notebook, whether it's talking to a friend or family member, on what it is that's causing you pain and anxiety, and figuring out what can you do to reduce that, as well as filling your cup up. Because if your cup is filled, you're gonna be motivated to show up each and every day. And I know I've said that a lot here today, but that's really what it comes down to. When I heard that quote, that amateurs train and professionals recover, it's all about understanding what your limits are at the current moment and realizing you need to push those limits, but you also want to make sure that you recover so the next day you're still motivated and inspired and have the discipline to wake up and get after it once again. I believe that's what separates the beginners and amateurs from the professionals and the experts, is the ability to understand their thresholds and have a plan and strategy to continuously push those thresholds to new heights every day, every month, every year as they continue to compete with themselves. All in all, consistency has had an immense impact in my life, whether it's been sports, school, or the relationships I have with those closest to me. When I show up consistently as my best self, good things happen, and I want that to continue happening for me. Not only that, if it continues to happen for me, I want to continue to give back to you and help you be more consistent at being the best you that you could possibly be. So if you took anything from this, I'd love for you to like and share it with a friend, family member, or someone that you know struggles with consistency. I love to make this world a healthier and happier place, like I said in the beginning, and if this video can do so, please feel free to share it. Until next time, this is CJ Finley. I hope to see y'all soon.